look that bad. Look at that. Oh yeah, this is beautiful.
What are we doing?
We're in the bunker.
Oh, are we live?
Let's see.
Do I have to talk to a microphone?
No, there's no microphone for you to talk to. I know.
This is the best show ever.
Hey guys, you know what? You might want to tell them on the social media thing. Oh, I could put the link in there.
Put it in there.
Yeah. How do I do that? Okay. No.
What am I telling them?
I think you don't even have to do it because I'm gonna put the link in there. Our channel, view your channel. Oh, look, that's us live right now.
Cool.
Okay.
I hear that in my ears.
Don't. You're gonna make a double chin. Don't do that. Okay, there you go. Hey guys. Guys, we had.
So I can take my ears out.
You can take your ears out. We had tech.
I guess I have to move over.
Here's a new link. Oh, there's Rory. You can see us. Can you hear us, Rory?
Look, there's a light that says we're on air, so we must be on air.
And see this little green thing?
Yeah, it's just moving.
I think that means we're active.
Okay.
I didn't do my hair. Oh,
I didn't do. Oh boy.
Do I have a double chin? I don't want to have it. Okay.
I don't know. Welcome to Eugene and Dylan's guitar show,
Clandestine,
which is being done on a laptop.
Yes.
Now, I made a joke recently that we have the budget of a hostage video. It's starting to look like it. Now, here's what's funny is I'm Eugene Edwards over here. That's Dr. Dylan Caligiuri over there. You know, what's funny is I got a little birdie told me a rumor that our old friend producer Perry from back
Perry Martin
from the old show from Fipple is watching for the first time ever.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the birdie in this story, you guys. All right.
So welcome, Perry. That also tells you that there's not an NHL Finals game.
Yeah, there's.
Although there is Game 3 of the NBA Finals, so I want to let's just keep this one.
Yeah. Okay.
But we could always do more 90s stuff next week.
I think 90s is going to be a long-going.
It might process. Be. You're going to know more about this than I do, I think.
Well, we're
because
still
of our live trajectory.
What genre?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear you. But because in the 90s, I was firmly ensconced in the country line dance bar scene, I guess, because I was in a band for about 5 years playing that stuff. And then when I moved here, it was this. I jumped into the rockabilly swing scene. So I wasn't playing any hits that were being played on the radio.
In the 90s, I was in high school and I was learning how to use roll the perfect.
Anyways, I see. I got you. Yeah.
But yeah.
But
no.
you weren't that present.
I wasn't. No, I was present. I was just playing. Also, I was into different styles of music.
Okay. So do we have? Oh no. Oh, see, now I can't read the comment section.
Well, you can't see that. Okay, no. I'm sorry. Did someone forget their Dr. Dina Dells?
You know what I did? I only have my prescription sunglasses, not my regular reading glasses.
Is this too close to you or too far from you?
I can't. I don't know.
You can't see that?
Nope.
You can see it when it's over there.
Yeah, I can. I can see distance.
Is there an optometrist in the crowd? Here, let's see if I move this.
No. That's too small. Don't worry about it.
Now it's too small.
I just can't read the comments. I can do the show without the comments.
Okay.
Couldn't you?
Jim K. Well, I can see him. Rory says, I can see you. Central Virginia Real Estate. Oh, that's Scott Fuzzleman.
Let's go. Yeah.
Jim K. Roy, John, Dave M. Greg's. Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
So let's talk tunes, though. Because full disclosure, guys, I stopped by here yesterday. I parked at Dylan's house because I went to the Hollywood Bowl. And he's like walking distance from the Hollywood Bowl, you see.
That's all true.
And so I went to see Robert Earl Keen, great Texas songwriter, Robert Earl Keen, and then Tyler Childers was playing. And then opening for all that was some 5 white dudes from Jersey playing Northern Indian music.
As one does.
They're just chanting.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say just, they were chanting. And it was pretty hip. I enjoyed it. Point is, I was here last night and you just started rattling off 90s songs.
I did. Boom. First one. I don't know if this is the most important song in the 90s.
I don't know what is.
These are best 90s cover band songs. So if you're in a cover band and you want to cover the 90s, right?
That's our premise. You understand?
Right.
That's our.
I think if you're in country,
Okay, this one I thought of. No, that's wrong.
What
It's a
am I
half. It's a diminished seven.
Sorry.
B minor. 5.
Blame it all on the roof.
I love it when he sings.
I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. I'm doing this. The computer's out. Last one to know. Last one to show. I was the last one. You thought you'd be there. Fast forward too. Because I saw a surprise and the tear in her eye.
Great change.
When I dropped a glass of champagne.
And the 5.
I toasted you, said, honey, we might be through. You'll never hear me again. Well, I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. I'm gonna be the fiddle. I'll be okay. Well, I'm not big on soul. That's it.
But so Garth Brooks. Now it's funny. I just heard that played in a club a couple weeks ago, and my friend Eleanor Whitmer was there, and she's a tremendous musician and singer. And I said I at the time that song was just. I will just say it was very ubiquitous.
Oh my God, you couldn't go to
very
like
nice for singing. Yeah,
any like a Chuck E. Cheese.
So and it's just so tired of it. But now I'm thinking, oh, how refreshing when country music had these old cowboy jazz changes. As I mentioned before on this show, I think like that's like the old Ink Spots record. Which this one, the flat 2 to the 2 minor. It's an old jazz move, man.
Yeah,
and then from the 2 minor to the 4
minor 4
great
chord.
move, very melodic.
We gotta do the solo. You want to do the solo?
You can play solo.
Okay,
right?
so 1, 2. This is the best part of the song. Well, I guess I was wrong, but it goes into a groove that time through, and it's like, oh, maybe we just did that.
I think just live bands.
We just did that.
Also, another thing, live bands do the really crappy ones.
Yeah.
The singer will. There's this replacement verse for the end.
Oh, I know. Oh man.
Where it's like, well, something in my glass. And you can kiss my. You won't believe
and it's
what the rhyme is.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, this song didn't need your rewrite.
No,
Mr. Solo Cup,
and
holding cover band singer.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's the very, I guess if you're drinking,
well,
no, there's some GHB involved.
It gets
on
the crowd.
Sure
I mean, no, but it's a crowd pleaser. If
it's
a cover band. That's your gig. That's your job. So
we got one here, right?
Oh yeah,
that we used to play.
And we did a deep dive on this song.
When the sun comes on my side.
Now Neon, another song.
I really like that song.
Played a lot at the time.
Yeah.
Now when I hear it, I'm like, oh, this is just a beautiful song.
I don't hear it as much though anymore.
Oh, Brent Mason does that beautiful that pop. We were talking about popcorn picking.
Yeah.
Just a couple of weeks ago. And again, we did a deep dive on this. So somewhere in our YouTube list, you'll see it.
We must have had it on Fender Play, I guess.
No, we did it just.
We did it here.
Kind of recently. But it was one of those things where there's several things to commend about Neon Moon, and one of them is, and it's funny because I'll play at like some club gigs nowadays,
yeah,
and they'll call Neon Moon, and then I get a little annoyed because they'll extend the solos.
Right. I know. We don't need to extend the solos.
I don't know. I think that the song is so perfectly concise. And one of the cool things that Brent Mason, who plays electric guitar on that track, does is in his solo, he moving up to the 4 chord. There's that move.
Yeah.
So it's an A major dyad, and then an
Glide B,
and then an A7.
Oh,
A flat 7 over the A major chord, and then that goes up to the 4.
Yeah, see that? And those little moves, when you're just playing like melodically, really actually do a lot. You get a lot out of it.
What's really cool is that none of the other instruments ever play the flat 7.
Yeah.
So when he does play that note.
The first rowdiness you get.
Yeah, but it really pays off. So everyone on that record, they're so economical with their playing. Like they're just so careful about not so much the notes that they're playing, but what notes they're not revealing yet, and it kind of keeps that drama.
Yeah,
it keeps that tension in an unusual way.
Because it's pretty diatonic up to that point.
Yeah.
Or not just diatonic; it's just a major with no implied.
Yeah. Now, so what was happening in guitar in the 90s? And we kind of had talked about like what had happened to it in the 80s, and as we got into the late 80s, the hair metal was still like holding strong.
Yeah,
like with good hairspray.
Right.
But then by I would say by the fall of 91.
Yeah. Smells Like Teen Spirit kind of is the big...
The Soundgarden album had already been
the
out.
Martin Luther's note on the door.
Yeah, it's just the end of the 80s when it's over. So cover bands had... So bands who were covering hits of the day.
Yeah.
And maybe some of you in the chat were in bands that were doing this.
Yeah, actually, Kevin D says that he loves doing that one. He also loves playing Fast as You. And Jim K's talking Red Hot Chili Peppers. We'll do that too.
So we went from... having like Jackson get like strapped.
Yeah, you had to have a Jackson with action that was,
really live.
There's going to be tapping, right?
Tapping. There's a lot of deep dive. There's Floyd Rose locking systems, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden,
I remember hearing that on the radio. I was really young, but going like, "Dude, this is awesome, Mom. Can we drive to the store and get the single?"
Yeah. What was the store?
Warehouse. Warehouse was the record store where I was. We also had Sam Goody in the mall. Yeah, in the mall we had Sam Goody, but not a whole lot of spots. There was. I didn't live in LA then, and I know there was Tower Records and Amoeba and stuff, but Warehouse was the spot.
Yeah. So Nirvana more than anything, and also, but if you're in a cover band. I guess that's one of the ones you would have done out of the grunge.
I don't think. I don't.
Did it take a while?
I think it was until easily the early 2000s that I heard anybody play Nirvana in a cover band. Because cover bands are up until recent years, they were always kind of pointing backwards a little bit. You know what I mean?
I guess that's
at least a 5-year lag. Now there's exceptions though. Like I remember playing Under the Bridge. I remember playing. Also, stuff that was danceable or that was just such a hit that you couldn't get around.
That's kind of what I'm alluding to here is that
new music became less danceable in the 90s.
That was a slow march towards that. Yeah. But, and then of course hip hop ascends in a big way in the 90s.
And it's max danceable, right?
And then it's extremely danceable, but also hip hop also is getting like De La Soul and Arrested Development.
Yeah.
But then there's NWA and there's
which is a carryover from the very late 80s. Public Enemy.
And Public Enemy.
But the big hits were in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
and you weren't covering those in bands back then. The bar would not tolerate it necessarily either.
And also, I'm just thinking about I think the best guitar album of the 90s, in my opinion, is OK Computer by Radiohead.
Wow.
However,
bold. Courageous.
However,
courageous statement.
No one's requesting Karma Police at the wedding.
They are not. Unless they're on Quaaludes.
So if you're a 90s cover band, I guess Creep maybe.
Yeah, I think
maybe
that was the only one.
That was like a weird one.
Yeah.
Like, what party is this?
It's
just not fun.
So John says, I remember seeing the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit on MTV, and he felt the same way. John Obley says, move it on over. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I think also about this is here's a really big distinction between popular music now and popular music in the 90s. There was a divergence of styles between music. So like rock became very rock. Hip hop was very hip hop. Country was very country. Now look at these styles of music now, or look at these genres now. Yeah. They're all converging
to the point where I think this was in the 90s, if not the late 80s. Someone check the year on this. But the song "I'll Make Love to You" was a hit for Boyz II Men and John Michael Montgomery. So it was like and so it didn't come up. I guess the Boyz II Men version was not going to be played on country radio. John Michael Montgomery's version was not going to be played on R&B stations. Yeah. So and then did somebody? I guess
Kennedy says 1994.
It was 94.
Yeah.
I felt. Thank you. I felt solidly on this one.
Now
whether people like it or not. I know it's I mean, controversial is a strong word.
Yeah.
But Beyonce's Cowboy Carter winning the Grammy for Best Country Album, I know like irks some people, but to me, well, at least there's crossover happening.
Yeah.
And because in 1994, one single song was segregated. It's just like, well, you're going to do that one over there, and we'll do this one over here.
It's like, my concern with that is not even that Beyonce's a crossover; it's that I want to see new people win stuff, and unfortunately, it's like it's a lot of legacy people win stuff, and so and that actually happened. Kirk Franklin or somebody won the Gospel Award. At BET,
wow!
And it was like, wow,
he's been around a while.
Are we going to have anybody?
Been around a while.
So I think it's kind of like if award shows could do something amazing for the general public, one thing they could do is put spotlights on new artists. Not that they necessarily need that in the modern world the same way, but at least elevating them another level higher.
True. So you mentioned Under the Bridge. Boy, talk about a song that's been effed out.
No, Cabo. I want to move on. So. Oh, this is relevant right now. Living, it's talk about LA. Some blah 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 blah. Together we cry. And then this is the best chord in the song. Sorry. 2.
Major 7. A little major 7 action for you there.
So, now that we know so much about Rick Rubin's role on their albums, and that album in particular, because I was a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan prior to this album, and I was really young. I had Fight Like a Brave, I had Mother's Milk, and I was super into it. This album, when it first came out, to a lot of Chili Peppers people, was like the same way the sound to Pearl Jam. They didn't like the sound of their first album. Neither did Nirvana. Like, they didn't like the tone of it. This was obviously a producer got involved because Red Hot Chili Peppers really didn't repeat the same thing a ton of times in a progressive, perfectly way. Like,
you mean within the song?
Within their songs, they weren't hyper produced at all. And this was really moving into like a very structured song order with like divulging motives and a large and different types of instrument groups that you knew that they weren't familiar with prior to this. So, like, knowing that now, I look back on it. We didn't all know what the secret sauce was to a lot of this, but whether it's from the Beatles on up, I mean, production is such a huge part of all of these. Amazing, like, opus de grandes of these bands. Is that okay? Can I say that?
That sounds delicious.
Wait a minute. That sounds like something I could dip and wrench. Let's see. So John says, I was surprised to see Fast Car was 1988.
Yeah.
But there's one we could do, which is a big cover band song, by the way, in the 90s. Frusciante is good. Always has been. Yep. Ringo had a country hit album that was crossover, says Rory. John says that whole BSSM album, is that a bondage? Say BSSM. We must have been talking about somebody right there. Oh, You Wreck Me, Tom Petty, great driving cover tune. Okay. So another big one from the 90s. It's a cover band song that everybody covered.
Oh yeah. Was this? Yeah, this is.
I mean, this was, you couldn't go to a bar without hearing a band play this.
Sorry.
This pigeon's down on Rocket.
I recorded over at what's now Henson, but A&M Studios at the time.
A big one. Sorry. Keep on.
Sort of the it's not emo punk. It's like that really. So Green Day,
Yeah,
also has a huge effect.
1997, I believe, is when Dookie comes out.
Oh, yeah, we on Fipple we did a particular Green Day episode. I remember. So we had the dates all figured out then. But yeah, and that's a great, like Basket Case was a great song.
Now, do you hear that covered as much though? I heard When I Come Around and Longview covered the most by bar bands because the
bass line. Give the bass player a little something to do, you know?
Yeah, because parts of the 90s, the bass player was not fully entertaining.
No, but my point is, after Green Day breaks, we just get a lot of these really like up tempo, really catchy, power chord rock songs. Lit. And
can I tell you who I think has a lot to do with that? Mixing wise, you know his name.
Chris Lord-Alge.
Chris Lord-Alge, you guys. If you haven't, if you have not discovered Chris Lord-Alge, if you like the sound of, I guess maybe the American Idiot album is probably but everything from all the way back to Frampton albums all the way up to modern day stuff. I mean, he might be the most prolific mixer in history as it goes down.
He's an exciting guy to be around.
And he's kind of unstoppably full of energy.
Oh yeah.
Like he's still going out and watching new bands, showing up at like kids bands things and saying
he comes with us if we're playing like somewhere up in Northern California.
And that's not the only people he's screwing with.
No.
You know, like, so I mean, that's amazing.
No, he has tremendous energy. He has tremendous energy. He likes records. He likes mixing records. He's like listening to things. He's very we were backstage with him once with Chris a couple of years ago, and we were ready to go on. And I guess the tradition at this particular venue, they would take everyone's set list and they just paper the walls.
Right. Yeah.
And so now, of course, an artist never puts their own name on a set list. So the fun game is trying to look at
whose set list is what.
And then Chris,
Juice Newton.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
But Chris says, he goes, "Oh, it's easy." He's very New Jersey.
He can name all of them.
He's very New Jersey. He goes, "Oh, it's easy. You go to the third to the last song."
Oh wow, and that's
that'd be the biggest hit.
Oh wow,
he's right. He says, "No," he goes, "Your mistake. You're starting from the top of the list. The third to the last song. That's." Yeah, you're right. Oh, right. Hit me with your best shot. There it is.
We got some really good examples here. So somebody just mentioned. Does
he really play that chord?
Dylan's I don't have no crystal ball. I have $1 million. Will I spend it all? And that's Sancho,
three major, the three dominant,
Papa,
6 minor,
Sancho, and I have a big
down to classic 4.
I really want to say
1 down to the 6 minor.
What
very
I
diatonic all of a
really
sudden.
want to say.
Great movement there.
That love is no. You gonna do the solo?
No, I don't know it. Go ahead.
Sorry. Now, if you notice, he plays the third of the non-diatonic chord right there when you get to
no, that reminds you. That puts me in mind of I tell you all the time is what Elliot Easton does on Just What I Needed.
Yeah. It's all over Just What I Needed.
It's the same.
I know he does the same thing. Yeah.
So he's always and then
like the wrong song.
So he's bending up to the major third of that non-diatonic chord, which is a very pop thing.
Right.
Like, that's the most valuable note at the moment.
It's
so
the only non-key note.
Yeah. So that's.
Oh, Dookie was 94. So Mary Jane's Last Dance. We covered Basket Case. I actually think Basket Case is one you can definitely people will go crazy for. It's like the right crowd. It's got to be the right crowd. It's in some ways it's.
See, what's cool about Basket Case, I remember talking about it, is it's all power
Canon
chords.
and D progression too.
Right, yeah. It's all power chords, meaning there's no third. So it's just root and fifth. in those last two chords, it's implied that it's the 6 minor
Yeah.
and the 3 minor. But since he's not playing the third, we don't know if it's minor or not. So the only thing you have to go off of is his melody.
Right.
Da, 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 da.
Oh yeah.
And so he sings, he stays diatonic. He says his melody doesn't betray. So it's just really, really interesting. And I think that a lot of music, like lit bands like that and Jimmy Eat World and all that, they kind of took that cue.
Which I think is 2001, so we don't get to that.
So
No, but I mean,
myself.
Jimmy
I hear
Eat
you.
World, yeah.
But I think that sort of the ethics of that,
Right,
and then what's who the other guys, the guys, Adam's song.
Oh yeah. Blink-182.
Blink-182.
Yeah, and I think they're 2001-ish maybe.
Yeah, I'm saying those are the sons of that movie.
I think Green Day, you can all of that Sugar Ray era of rock, and
I love Sugar Ray.
but all of that era, which is it's a controversial thing to say.
What?
It's all right. We'll talk about it later when we get 2000s. But that whole era of rock, I think you have Green Day to thank, which is Green Day's a sort of, let's just be honest, it's like a more commercially available form of punk.
Oh God, yes.
Right.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's a more
an argument.
And so what do you think was the real catalyst to them having such proliferation? I would say again, it's probably production. Somebody came along,
I hear you,
and turned them into big boys,
and that was kind of controversial to like the hardcore fans.
Oh, I think they were
from Berkeley
pissed.
on down,
which is where I'm from.
We
were very upset.
So it was sort of like, oh, you guys, but it's just that's the price you got to pay. There's a lot of literature and documentaries about Dookie and the production of it, and I think that band knew, was like, I can't remember the producer at the time. I can't, his name slipped me, but it was sort of like that was a very.
It wasn't like Butch Vig or something.
No, but it was just sort of like, oh yeah, this is gonna upset all the people that have been following you, but
you're gonna make trillions of dollars.
So another big 90s, I would say, because I remember I was in San Diego and 91.X was playing the song called "The Call."
Oh.
And by this band called the Foo Fighters, and that was all the information you had. And so between that,
before the Mentos song,
it was right. And so it was The Call on the first Foo Fighters, and then Alanis Morissette.
And so I played in a couple bands with female singers, and we did do Alanis Morissette.
What do you remember about that song? Are there any tricks? Are there any tricks to You Ought to Know? Like if someone calls it out, I was like, okay. I mean, is there anything tricky about that song?
I can't think of anything offhand. No. What is it?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think so. No, it was pretty obvious for the most part. I'm trying to hear the beginning of it.
Well, it's one of those, it starts quiet and then it explodes.
Yeah,
this is a post Nirvana thing.
We also had a keyboard player too. Play that song. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyways,
so I love the way.
I hope she's not listening.
Hi, Alanis.
Alanis, if you're listening, we're terribly sorry. But okay, so there was the other big one by Sublime that as cover bands we couldn't get away from was what are the songs called?
Oh, it's Lady Madonna.
In the morning, rise into the streets.
I always want to go to Lady Madonna.
Up that cigarette, and I couldn't get out. You could not get away from that song. It was impossible. We called all the time.
Those songs have such great hooks.
Believe it or not, this song is from. Was that the 90s?
Is that Pride and Joy?
Yeah,
that's from the early 80s.
Damn it, you're right. I'm thinking of a different one by him.
He passes away in 91.
Oh, 91.
Yeah, so he doesn't really get.
So I'm mixing that up entirely.
Another thing that happened though in the early 90s was MTV's Unplugged.
Yeah,
became very, very. It became monetized.
Yeah,
because I remember when MTV Unplugged first started, the very first episode had the guys from Squeeze on.
Yeah,
and like Michael Penn, 10,000 Maniacs. It was absolutely, and
I remember the 10,000
Maniacs. And this guy named
one.
Jules Shear, really great songwriter.
Yeah.
He wrote "If She Knew What She Wants," which was a hit for the Bangles. He hosted, and he's just like this little kind of ratty looking dude.
Yeah.
And but I don't know if it was Clapton, but someone with the history of it, but someone did like a major, the big artists were starting to do it now because like, well, it's kind of nice to just sit down and actually perform again.
Yeah.
So Clapton does his, and that's not yet though. That song hasn't been cut yet. No,
that's not on Unplugged.
No.
Oh wow.
No, that is cut after. But Tears in Heaven is, and then the weird schmaltzy jazz lounge version of Layla.
And
yeah, that's right. I always really like this piece.
Soft rocking.
I'm impressed you know this. This is such a beautiful piece.
And then it's anyways, that's the song.
What are they saying in the chat there?
Okay, so we got Fake Plastic Trees, Michael Storms, Bare Naked Ladies. Yeah,
I was gonna mention that.
We never did that one, but I know other bands did that. One was looking at me, that would have worked too, and I think we just didn't do it.
But that would definitely get
and now they're quoting lyrics other than the Chinese chicken, and they're
yeah, sure.
Eric L.
Fake Plastic Trees, such a great. That song just breaks.
Oh, Matchbox 20. So hey,
oh,
I wasn't actually. We played Matchbox 20. For some reason, I was a snob and didn't like them, and now I love them. By the way, and part of that was I got to work on some of the redux of some mixing and mastering involved, but like they are actually badass.
I don't believe you, but I'm glad you came around.
Yeah, I came around. Well, I don't know. I just didn't know. I didn't realize at the time, to be honest with you.
I'm still firmly not into them.
So, do you guys know the song "Baby, Baby, Baby, When All Your Love"? Do you know that song? "Bright Lights" is what it's called, and I think it's by Rob Thomas. If you're on the fence about Matchbox 20, and fair enough, by the way, because 3 a.m. was the big hit. And by the way, the same time, that might be 2000s though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's associated with that. Yeah, that does feel very.
It feels like it's same thing with the. Oh, sorry. Kryptonite is either 99 or 2000. Anyways, but so it says, but check out Bright Lights by Matchbox 20.
Black Hole Sun. That'd be.
We never covered that, but I mean,
bands.
You know what? The older guys. So there was a really great band in town, like with all the teachers in it, and a really great singer. Cool. And they would play stuff like that, and they could do it.
Oh, okay, but your Black Hole Sun. We did a dive on the album, I guess.
Yeah.
On this, so, but yeah, you have
to actually be really good.
You follow me, guys.
Yeah. I mean, this is not like the scene from Back to the Future. Follow me. That's not Black Hole Sun. This is like, and also what people are always really surprised by. If you want to play something that's like got ballad tempos in it with double time, you have to have a really good drummer.
Oh, good.
And listen to the bass line on Black Hole Sun. It's like counterintuitive. A lot of our bass players, we're trying to figure out how to smoke while playing. And then, do you know anybody that services crate amps that have single 15s in them?
Crate amps.
And so, like,
nice call. That was very 90s.
It's very 90s. So,
yeah.
All right. So, Black Hole Sun, the Spice Girls. So, you know what? The Spice Girls were super popular. I think.
God, yeah, they were.
We were. It was like, again, music was so siloed in the 90s.
Right.
That
either you did that type of material and only that type.
Yeah.
Even for the cover bands.
And there was like big money, I didn't know about it at the time, but there was super huge money corporate cover bands that were playing.
Yes.
Later on, I got on like a Red Lion tour, and we were playing at all the Red Lion hotels. And they have like on the bottom floor, they have a bar, and you go and play Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And you'd stay at the Red Lion for the whole week and then travel the next Red Lion.
Wow, that's
really good, by the way.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good for
and
you,
the band got really good. And by the end of it, you were good enough to start real trouble. But we would do stuff that was crossover like that.
I'm fascinated by this.
Yeah.
So did the Red Lion Corporation Limited, I don't know what it is, did they dictate what songs you covered?
They were super hands-on. They paid for Gig Xafaris was the agent's name. They paid for the actual promo videos. They paid, so they were, and they also kind of knew what was going to work based upon.
They're doing all the research.
Totally know, like we might have gone in. I don't understand what happened. Which, by the way, we used to play that. But like, it seemed like things were going well, and we played Under Sandman, and a woman threw up, and I don't know what happened. You know, like.
Mommy, that band.
Yeah, there was a major D that threw some things at us, and we have some charges. But anyway, so we need to be back into New Mexico by the end of the month. But like,
funny.
Yeah, so it paid. I think I got $500 a week.
But you guys, and you're right. Whoever's in the band, you're bound to be tight.
Yeah.
Oh,
we were
just playing.
so tight.
That's a great experience to have.
Oh, it was, and so were the cruise ship experiences, but they were a little bit after that. The Macarena, is the Macarena the 90s? I bet it is. Huh?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, dude, the Macarena was like, it got to the point, you guys, where
is there any guitar in that? What do you do?
Oh, if there is, it's like
it'd be. That's what I'm saying. It's like a popcorn picking thing. Work on that popcorn picking, man. I'm telling you.
We eventually. That's no diggity. We did play that. Everlong. I remember Everlong, and I remember covering an Everlong song. I don't remember how it goes. Do you remember an Everlong song? Was the guy that was the main guy in Everlong, was he like a songwriter for
I thought they were talking about the song Everlong.
Oh, they might have been. They might have been. Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I'm mixing them up now. Matthew Sweet got a start in the 80s, but I really like the stuff from the 90s. Amish Paradise. Eric L says Amish Paradise.
Girlfriend by Matthew Sweet was awesome. And is it Robert Quine, I think, is playing the lead guitar? Robert Lloyd, sorry. Tremendous record. And it had the great pop song, I've Been Waiting. And I've been waiting. Wait, what key is it? I've been waiting. Yeah, Matthew Sweet. Man.
Was Cuts Like a Knife 90s? That's 80s.
No, that's 80s.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Yeah,
Bulls on Parade. Yes,
Amish Paradise. That's the one. I think that's still the one song that Weird Al says with the original.
Wishes he didn't do it.
Well, Coolio
was not happy.
Yeah, that was the.
He could not take the joke.
Which is ironic though, because obviously most of it's all fashioned after a Stevie Wonder track.
I'm also sure he signed off on it too, though.
Well, so it all worked out. Obviously, Amish Paradise came out, and it's fantastic, and the video is.
It might be one of the best like songs that he ever did, by the way, in terms of Weird Al Yankovic.
That's hard to say.
I mean, like a surgeon. Come on.
Oh no, but what's the Blurred Lines parody?
That one's pretty good, but it's no Amish Paradise.
So clever.
That's no Amish Paradise.
Yeah, but Amish Paradise is great. One of the reasons it's great about it, obviously, it's very funny. But it's the same thing that's great about Gangster's Paradise. Is that it's the Stevie Wonder song's so great.
It's a Stevie Wonder.
So in fact, Stevie Wonder, here in the trail of stuff, Stevie Wonder had to be convinced, to allow the sample of his record because his objection, he didn't. Stevie's that whole album, Songs in the Key of Life, it's about peace, harmony, joy, overcoming pain. There's so many themes on there, and so he's like, I can't have the word gangster in the title,
right? I know
of one of my songs. So cool. Apparently, they really walked Stevie through the whole lyrics of this.
Right.
Also, it's tied in with the movie, the Michelle Pfeiffer movie.
Dangerous Mind.
Dangerous Mind. So then Stevie saw that the song is just like part of a larger piece. That no, this is inspirational, and so then he's fine with it. And so it's funny then Weird Al's going to do a parody, and then Coolio's people are like, "Oh, we're not so fast."
Yeah.
So they just lobbied so hard to get Stevie on board, and that's what was good. But everyone, Coolio has prevailed.
So Greg says Spin Doctors. Honestly, we never covered Spin Doctors. It would have gone over well. It's hard to actually sing the syntax that the guy sings. Yeah. So it's like
I played the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's
something like that. Anyways. But it would have been hard to do that actually, because he had a really that's Bomb Track. We did Bomb Track. We used to do Bulls on Parade. Now these were things you did when there were no, frankly, women left at the bar, and like, and so
Right.
it was just, and they were like, come on, and you're like, okay, let's see.
Big shock. The women are gone, so now it's just a bunch of angry men.
It's a bunch of angry men, and they're like, God, and you're like, oh. And whatever else you can just sort of, and people are, and that's kind of how the like usually the end of the night or the beginning of the night. Like,
oh no,
you know what I mean?
Oh, no. Yeah. Wow. Gosh, no. Andrew Tate, Party of 8.
Sorry about that, guys.
Wow.
It's just the true story about what happened. Sorry, State. Hey, Jealousy. So
I was going to mention Jim
you're
Blossoms,
starting to step
actually.
into stuff I listened to in the 90s, Stacey. I really liked that college rock stuff, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, by the way. Yeah.
They had some, and then they had a great
They had a
version.
couple other hits.
Well,
too.
one of my favorites is because they had that first album has so many. Congratulations, I'm sorry. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Most of those songs were written by a guy that was previously in the band, had a bad substance abuse issue.
Wow.
They had to kick him out.
Yeah.
And then as they exploded with his songs, he passes away.
Oh,
They had. I mean, they couldn't carry the guy
what are you
anymore.
gonna do?
But Hey Jealousy's Allison Road, and a great one. They also had it covered a Marshall Crenshaw song for the Empire Records movie, and Till I Hear It From You.
Oh wow. Oh wow, yeah. I have that album. That's the second album, isn't it? Or is that the first album?
Baby, I don't wanna take it.
That's Breaking Way Back. Yeah. That's not their song though, huh? I didn't know that.
Crenshaw wrote
Wow, I didn't know that.
Marshall Crenshaw co-wrote with someone. But it sounds so Jim Blossoms. That guy has such a great even voice.
And then
two minor 5. 2 minor 5. Wait for it,
yeah. I don't remember anyways.
I think it's 2 minor 5. Maybe So talk about that movement, by the way. I was telling you.
So
I mentioned
this is the ice cream changes movement here. This middle.
No. No, I don't think that's ice cream changes.
That's how they described it to me.
Oh, I thought ice cream changes was like 1 6 minor 4 5.
Well, it's the implied thirds of those chords.
So here's what we're talking about. And I use this song as an example of like what Something by the Beatles does. You have C major 7,
right?
Then C dominant.
C dominant 7.
That movement,
and in this case, back to
and they're going to do this roller coaster movement. Like, are they an E or D?
They're an E. That might be an F.
Okay. But that's the thing is it's E major, then E major 7, then E 7, and then back. So it just kind of and then some girl walks down the staircase after having taken off her eyeglasses, and now we realize that she's beautiful. It just seems like that.
There's a little hit. That was a great one.
Sixpence None the Richer.
Yeah, that's it. There we go.
That was a good hit.
Marcy's Playground. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that was a great one right there. Also, we got Counting Crows on here.
Oh, that's a great. Yeah.
Have you? Oh, and that was like you couldn't get Sorry, you couldn't get away, and apparently he couldn't get away from it. You guys should look up interviews with him. More recently,
he's a very well spoken.
He seems like a really I want to hang out with him. And
San Francisco guy.
Yeah,
and his dad was a doctor.
And apparently he also did not like fame, and was bartending at the Viper when a lot of people, died.
No. So the bar. I remember. The bartending at the Viper Room. That was after they became huge.
So that would have been 90s.
So,
late
after
90s.
The first 2 albums or so.
Somebody's already dead.
He's kind of laying low. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's kind of laying low, and he just tended bar just to get out of the house.
At the Viper.
Yeah, the Viper.
So you got this famous dude from the Counting Crows.
You walk from, it's a small. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
but he explained this, even at the time, he had this fantasy about how the Counting Crows were going to go. The idea, he said, my dream was the REM model, where we're just going to make these simple little records, and we're going to get in a van, and we're just going to play college towns like back and forth, like probably going to do this for 10 years. And then if everything goes like REM did, then hopefully something breaks. And what happens is they are a smash. First single out of the box. You're on Saturday Night Live. Your video's in heavy rotation.
Which, by the way, I mean, that's amazing.
Well, it's just like it's everyone else's dream come true.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is actually for
that's not what they wanted."
And by the way, Eddie Vedder went through the same thing. So this is the thing about the '90s. A lot of the brand new rock stars in the '90s had what's his nose from Radiohead. A lot of them had. There's a lot of angst about being in a very successful band, which was quite gross and obnoxious.
And the corporatism too.
They were aware of that.
Yeah.
So, and so we're like, well, then why'd you start a band? It's like, well, no, not everybody who starts a band does it to become Van Halen. Well, also, some people just want to jam with friends and in front of groovy people. Now, here's the thing. Don't forget, Eddie Vedder, Adam Duritz, Tom York, Kurt Cobain. Yeah, so the ones who, they're all born of a generation where the rock star thing it's kind of
selfish, narcissistic.
There's a stigma.
Yeah, there's like they're actually pushing back against that.
They're doing what they can.
Yeah.
They're doing what they can.
Well, I think their music is its own statement against that, right? In a weird way, because it's like grunge is such a rebuttal to 80s hair metal. It's such a rebuttal.
But I think who was it? I don't know if it was. Gosh, who was it? One of the grunge guys said that, they were.
Was this like a Rick Beato thing or something? Or?
No, he said that this is something he said years ago.
Like in a Spin magazine interview or
something like that. And it was one of the guys from Pearl Jam or one of the guys from Nirvana.
Yeah.
He was just saying so you get the call, like, okay, time for the photo shoot.
Yeah, right.
You're going to be in the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
Right.
And it feels like that's a moment. And you realize is that the photographer and the crew that's taking the picture, from when they're talking about, one of the last shoots we just recently did, it was like, it was Rat or some hair.
Yeah, right.
And he says, oh yeah, we're just
the next one in line.
We're just the next one in line.
Yeah.
It's easily, we weren't really changing anything.
No.
It's the same people. And we're
like the institution is still there. We're the cow moving.
You're just an assignment to this photographer.
Right.
He's gonna make you look great. That's his job. But it's not like the photographer showing up in flannel like he's converted or anything. No, you just
and the studios felt like that too. I think probably at the time to people. So one of the things that's so interesting about this though, there was when I would tour with older guys, or later on when I played like in a Rock of Ages, like a touring group that was based off the movie and had funding behind it and stuff, and it had older dudes in it, and they would. They were really into 80s music and they would say, and they were genuinely into it. And they were like, the thing we hated about the 90s music was the depression and the sort of downerness of it, and versus, the nothing but a good time and cocaine next to the beach thing. And I think, I could see both sides of that, because the 90s did have a little bit of unnecessary angst in it. And also maybe
but I'm thinking like, in LA, there were massive riots.
Yeah.
The 90s, there were issues.
Yeah.
I think, and life wasn't great for everybody. Hence the message of a lot of hip hop at the time.
I mean, crime was actually pretty bad in big cities, in many big cities in the 90s.
I also think that there was just, especially like Cobain and Vedder. There's a lot of this generation. A lot of them are from very broken homes.
Yeah. Right.
And it was coming out a little more directly in the music than, say, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. They both lost their moms when they were kids.
Yeah, right.
But that pain was disguised in various ways until later on. Like John would really openly talk about it. Like John Lennon kind of ends up being this canary in a coal mine as to what. So John Lennon, between like 1968 to 73, he's just like this big open wound all of a sudden. He's just Primal Scream, and he started
LSD,
and
mushrooms,
and then heroin, and his mother issues and his ego issues and all his issues, and he's just literally just standing naked on an album cover, like just here it is, and it's hard to imagine ostensibly the leader of the most popular group in all the world doing half the stuff Lennon does by 68, 69.
Because it was
avant-garde things.
Right.
Getting arrested for pornographic lithographs he'd drawn and displaying in an art museum,
Early OnlyFans.
Just really like, look, this guy was wildly famous.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like he's going off the rails, guys. And then it turns out that he was actually just numbing us to this rock star public figure, sort of just openly, if he has complaints, he has complaints. I know I live in a mansion. I'm still not fixed. And then by the 90s, like, we kind of like, okay. Now I remember my parents, like, well, no, not so much my parents. They were always hip. But I remember kind of, you would read older rock critics kind of saying like, okay, so Eddie Vedder doesn't want to be a rock star. Don't be one. Okay, Adam Duran, stop crying. So it's like, oh, we've seen this before.
Right,
like, but we haven't seen. Well, by the way, kids who were born in post 1975, they've never seen anyone of their generation go through this before.
Yeah.
So that's why it's compelling. Eddie Vedder did a really brilliant thing at one point when Pearl Jam exploded. And he was it was really, really kind of getting to him. Like, just, you know, he couldn't sleep, turn on TV just to knock himself. And there's the Jeremy video playing. So he's staring at himself. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, I bet.
So he can't get away from himself. And he does this very, very smart, this is a Survivor thing to do. He reaches out to a man he'd never met before. He reaches out to Pete Townsend.
Really?
And says, help me get through this.
Wow.
Because he just thought what the Who's music meant to me.
Yeah.
I'm getting the idea that my music is meaning something like that to these kids.
The kids.
And I'm not so sure I want that responsibility.
Yeah, right.
What do you do?
Right.
And he befriended him, and
I was a huge Pearl Jam fan, dude. I mean, I was like, I remember going on the bus and listening. I had like remember the sports Walkmans that they were hermetically sealed? When you put the tape in there.
Did you have a yellow one?
I had a yellow sports Walkman and the yellow thing.
Cool,
and then you put the tape in there and you're like, nothing's getting in here. I could drop this in a vat of human waste. Nothing would happen. Sports. Anyway, sorry.
That'd be very good.
And but anyway, so, and you would play these tapes until, do you remember playing the tape till you couldn't read any of the writing on the tape anymore?
Sure.
Anyways, this is also from the 90s, right? And so is I Won't Back Down. We covered that. And, you know, maybe some of the irony of that is just because these guys weren't showing you that they were going through a hard time doesn't mean they weren't.
Oh, yeah. That band was just slowly breaking apart.
Exactly.
Tom's about to, like, start heroin. Oh, my God.
It was just so public with and
the videos has
people.
Like, you know, angst. You know, things that happens. Things just get a little too shiny, happy, poppy, and then there's a revolt, right? So, like in the early 70s, there was just sort of like a lot of this, you know, like James Taylor, and very folky and very kind of like soft.
Some honesty in there too, but
but it just
accessible,
produced in a very gentle way. And then meanwhile in New York, in the Bowery, CBGB situations like the Ramones and Blondie and like in television, those men, and like the New York Dolls starts even earlier, but like there's always going to be a response to that sort of thing. So
that's where I moved, was the Bowery, you guys, in 2006, because I could afford to live there and I had no idea of its history. Or that I would need a tetanus shot immediately.
What does not kill you makes you stronger.
But no, you mentioned one there. What did you said just there towards the end?
Oh no, I talk a lot.
Well, there was somebody just mentioned.
Oh yeah, Joan Osborne.
I actually did play in a band with that song because we had a female singer. Also, we have a couple Pilots folks there. I think almost everybody covered that song. It was, and this was also maybe another one where you could play it when there was only dudes left at the bar, pretty much. I don't know you're gonna get, but people got cooler later on. Yeah, wow, a bunch of
Beastie Boys, Sabotage.
Oh, and
God, that's so cool.
This was a big one this was probably the biggest one off that album.
This one you mentioned yesterday.
Somebody's hiding is drowning my icebox.
91.X to San Diego played the. Oh, so good. Da 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 da.
right until later on. The other thing is, you used to play stuff wrong as cover bands, like on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody would come in to sit in the band. You'd be like, what song are you playing?
I think we did a Fipple episode. It was when I remember I was still doing it from home. And I played the solo, and I think I used like the in the app, I used the octave box.
Yeah, right.
To get that little chime, which I'm not so sure he does, but I know I did.
But he did. Eugene does. Yeah.
So cool. Or maybe I did it on Buddy Holly because the
that was the one you were big on. I think it was that one. Yeah. But again, by the way, that is heavily produced music. I just want to be clear, like, no bands. We need to have an episode that's just about the pedals of the 90s at some point, because they were way more ubiquitous, and like everybody kind of had the same pedals or very close to the same pedals. There was these really cheap pedals that you could buy off a musician's friend and order in the mail.
Got you in the business. It got you going.
Yeah, they looked like the Cheerios from the Roseanne show. They just said cereal on it. This one said pedal. And like until you it worked for about a week and a half. By the way,
that's funny. I did. I remember saying this a few years ago when Fender had come out with that line. It was kind of the starter pedal. Remember there were the metal ones?
They're still out there. Yeah.
And what was one of the last
competitive series is what they're called.
And I really the flange pedal says flanger.
Are you confused about what this does?
It's not like it doesn't say tuna melt,
and then instead you got to try to figure out what this thing does.
Chorus says chorus. I was like, I like this. This is like the umpires of the guitar pedal world. Just I'm calling it as it is.
But
all right?
The DoD grunge pedal.
The what?
The DoD grunge pedal.
Oh.
The purple DoD grunge pedal not only was used by many of us through our very crappy solid state amps. It was also used by the likes of Weezer and many other bands we were listening to.
Cool.
And also like modified, I didn't know Kurt Cobain used Mesa Boogie triple rec, and he had a Boss, the Orange Distort DS1.
Oh, yeah.
And like that makes sense because his tones were so dark on that album. So a lot of the sounds that were being used in metal were actually getting used, because we used to think of triple Rex as like heavy metal amps, and in many senses they are. But so, anyways, we'll have to have a whole.
Well, one of the things that Cobain had referenced to I think it was to Butch Vig when they were making Nevermind. I believe he referenced the first Black Sabbath record.
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't get more
metal than that, really. I mean, at that time,
I'm going to catch game 3. Can I go now?
We got to go. Look, we have so many great.
We'll take a screenshot.
We're gonna come back to this, guys. Thanks for bearing with us with the technical thing. Hopefully, I'll have Pro Tools up. I don't even know what happened. I'm not ruling out Russian interference. I haven't ruled it out since 2018.
I think that's a little. I think that's a little immodest to think that the Russians care
enough about our show.
Mess with.
I think we
don't even have a sponsor.
They're drilling down to us now. They're getting all the way down to us.
Wow.
Anyways, you guys, give us a big G on the way out.
Oh, come on, for old time's sake.
Well, just for old time's sake.
I remember Tyler Childers' drummer. I've forgotten about this, but years ago when I first met those guys, huge Fipple people.
Fipple.
The old FPL days. All right,
give us a big G on the way out. See you guys. Take care. Have a great day. 2, 3, 4. Just like the record. That was funny.
That's fun.